I'm Kyra from KyraWilliamsFitness.com, and today I want to talk about the 2 worst things you can do after you binge eat or emotionally eat. And then I also want to share the number 1 best thing you can do and that you should do when it's all been said and done. So let's go ahead and talk. Let's set the tone. What do I mean by binge eating or emotional eating? Well, anytime that you have had a rough day and you come home from work and you just open up the cabinet and you just stuff your face, you eat mindlessly, and then by the time you're done, you don't even want dinner. That's one example. Another example might be you go out with your friends and you're absolutely famished and you have several cocktails and you eat all the chips and queso, you eat your burger, your fries, you have dessert, and you walk away feeling really crappy. Maybe it's just at the end of the day, once the kids are in bed, you get your a little healthy snack, like something that you know, it's all organic, it came from Whole Foods, it's, this healthy thing, but you completely overdo it. All of those things, and then other situations are included in this. Maybe it's an entire weekend of just going balls to the wall, or like an entire vacay of eating anything and everything in sight. Whatever that case may be for you, if you look back on it and you feel like you did not make choices that were in alignment with your goals, this information is going to help you. So let's first talk about the 2 things that you absolutely should not do after going through a binge eating session or an emotional eating session. The first thing is, don't gloss over it. Don't just say, you know what, I ate that way, I shouldn't have. All right, it's all in the past, I'm going to move on. I mean, yes, you absolutely should move on, because the second thing that you absolutely should not do is drag yourself through the mud over it. Judgment is not going to help you. It's not going to solve the problem. Judging yourself, ridiculing yourself, living in that regret and that hate is not going to serve you. But it's also not going to serve you to just move along and pretend it never happened, because you're never going to learn anything from that. So I tell people all the time, I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, I love that you actually had that experience, even though they hated it and it was a crappy experience. I still love that experience for them, just like I love the experience for myself, because those are the experiences where we actually learn. We don't learn from easy experiences. We learn from the hard ones. I tell people this in CrossFit all the time. The very first day I got to CrossFit, I got double unders. I cannot teach people how to do double unders, but I struggle hard on muscle ups. So guess what I can teach really well? You learn the most from the experiences that are the hardest, period. Anytime something is hard, you have to sit with it. You have to struggle and you have to do so much to overcome that situation. And in the end, you end up learning from that experience. So I want you to look at your experience and I want you to really unpack where this came from. I want you to ask yourself questions like, how was I feeling? How and what was I feeling prior to this binge? So let's say you're that person who comes home from a tough day at work and you just rummage the cabinets, so much so you don't want to eat dinner. How are you feeling prior to that? What was your struggle? What made work so stressful? How are you handling that emotionally? What else could you have done differently rather than rummage through the cabinets? Or let's say you're the person who puts the kids to bed and then decides that it's time for a popcorn fest. Well, what could you have done differently in that moment? Could you have sat with yourself? Could you have sat with your emotions? Were you really tired? Was it truly the fact that you just needed to go to bed too? Or let's say you're that person who goes away for a weekend and you just eat anything and everything, screw the diet you've been on. If that's the case, what have you been depriving yourself in your normal day-to-day eating? Because if you are, then absolutely, as soon as you get somewhere new and out of your environment and out of your day-to-day routine, of course you're going to eat like that. If you feel deprived all the time, you're going to start resenting your diet. You're going to start resenting where you're at with your goals. You're not going to feel like you're making progress fast enough, and you are going to go away. You're going to get out of your routine. You're going to get out of your home life. And yeah, you're going to end up making a lot of eating choices that aren't in alignment with your goals because you don't have enough balance. So I need you to sit with these questions and figure out where that decision came from, because until you understand the root of the decision, you are never going to solve the problem. So we need to unpack why you made the choices that you made. And honestly, this is a big part of what I do as a coach with my clients, is figuring out why you made that choice. Until you understand why, nothing is going to change. And I need you to ask yourself these questions without judgment. When you judge yourself, you are not going to allow yourself to be emotionally vulnerable. You're never going to really be able, think about the people who judge you and ridicule you. You are not opening up to those folks. So why would you do that to yourself? I need you to just ask yourself these things, keep your mind neutral, and see what you can uncover. And as you start to uncover more and more, remember, practice that neutrality. In fact, practice kindness to yourself. And allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to feel, know that these feelings are valid, they are human. You are human. You are a wonderful person, and just because you make these decisions does not make you a bad person. There's a reason that you made those choices. You've got to just figure out what that reason is, where it came from, and then from there, you will then be able to create better decisions and make better choices as you encounter that situation again, that whether that situation is feeling stressed, feeling tired, being overly restricted, having resentment. You will then be able to take what you've learned from your binge eating session, your crappy eating session, and be able to apply that when it starts to come up for you again in the future. So don't gloss over it. Don't give yourself a hard time, but unpack this stuff and figure out where it came from. And then that will allow you to make that better choice that is in alignment with your goals going forward. And if you're struggling with that, please reach out to me. This is literally what I do, and I would love to help you too. Thanks for watching.